Well, Arnie's getting a little bit political again, but how can we? Is he never not? Do we actually trust him? We don't know. Let's go into this. And what we were talking about today is that Arnold Schwarzenegger seems like he's almost like on the campaign trail for something again because he has gone on Jimmy Kimmel and The View, and they have obviously tried to give him like bait questions so he can bash on Trump, but he hasn't done it. Instead, he said other things. I'm going to keep this as far away from politics. I know it has to do with politics because that's all these people could talk about anymore is politics. But we have to address this because Arnie was elected governor of California for 2 consecutive terms. So let's go and see what he has to say, especially with like the end of the LA riots. Yes, they are riots. They're not peaceful protests. But yeah, let's just go straight into this. And subscribe, please. So, Arnold Schwarzenegger humiliates Jimmy Kimmel after refusing to bash Trump in a surprise patriotism-fueled response to a loaded question. That's all, quote-unquote, journalism is nowadays, just loaded questions. You know what they called it way back, over 100 years ago, 150 years ago? They called it yellow journalism back in the 1800s. Yellow journalism was simply sensationalism. And it wasn't actually what you're taught from a journalistic point of view. It was all opinion based. That's all they can do nowadays. Now I do understand that like these are pundits. They're basically they're paid to do that. They're paid to give their opinions and their little skew on things. That's what I'm not paid to do it, but that's what I do as well. I give my opinions on things. But we're trying to look at facts here. Jimmy Kimmel was humiliated recently on his own show after trying to goad Arnold Schwarzenegger into an attack on President Donald Trump. 45-47. Arnold Schwarzenegger is having a week to remember, and it's not for a new movie or even his new Netflix series, FUBAR. The former California governor delivered a political masterclass on not one, but 2 progressive Disney talk shows, first shutting down Kimmel and then doubling down on The View. So if you don't, obviously I don't watch these shows, but if you don't watch these shows, it's kind of funny that he was booked for 2 things that he just like completely upset their script for it. I don't know. I think it's funny. Do I agree with the guy politically? No. Do I agree with everyone or anyone wholly politically? No. I don't do that either. I ask questions for myself, but at least this guy's asking questions now. He has stuck his foot in his mouth about a whole lot of stuff, but we're going to get into what I think the reason why these questions were asked to him was specifically sparked from the LA riots. In both instances, the host appeared eager to bait Schwarzenegger into bashing President Trump. Instead, they were met with something they didn't expect. Level-headed calls for unity, reverence for the American system, and an unwavering belief this country is still the greatest on earth. So, we have the setup. So, let's go straight in. The next thing that I want to do, and the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go straight into how was it worded? Because you will see a trend in this kind of stuff. If you've never seen it before, you will see the trend happen. So Jimmy Kimmel asked him, do you, as someone who has experience with predators, is he talking about the movie? Like, is he trying to be like a little bit quippy? How would you handle Donald Trump that he is trying to be quippy? Oh my gosh, this dude is so unfunny. What is wrong with him? How would you handle Donald Trump in this situation where he is threatening to withhold federal funding from our students, from our schools, from disabled students? Well, is that really what he's doing? We should need more context to that. But you asked a pointed question with no context. Kimmel even referenced a far-fetched idea floated by Governor Gavin Newsom that California could withhold its federal tax contributions to protest, but Schwarzenegger wasn't playing along because he had probably been coached, which is not a bad thing. You should be coached if you're going on these kind of platforms at this day and age. You should be coached. You should know that, like, yeah, they're going to try to trap you so they can get a news clip. And all credit to Arnie, what he says. Well, it sounds always easy, doesn't it? Sounds easy, but I mean, Doesn't happen because every individual in California pays taxes. So how can he stop all the taxes when it's automatically taken out of your paycheck? Anyway, so how are you going to stop them from doing that? Then if the IRS is coming after you, this is look, I just want everyone to know this is all dialogue. This is rhetoric. The left going after the right going after the left. Yes. That's all it really ever is. Politics, the political parties and the political system. If you haven't left it behind by now, what are you doing? Or you're probably you're either living under a rock or you're too busy because you got taxes to pay. You got bills to pay. You got a family to provide for. And you look, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's basically what I do is I just try to keep my head down. I pay attention to stuff that actually interests me, like movie and nowadays comics. And I keep my head above water for politics, but I don't like to talk politics too much. I know where I would lean logically, and I know where I do lean logically, but I don't just go out there and espouse my beliefs to everyone all the time. I don't shove it down anybody's throat. But in this information age, I do kind of expect people to at least be their head a little bit above water where they're not drowning and don't know what the hell is going on. You can't escape it. And he literally can't make an executive order that does this kind of stuff. So it is a bait question, plain and simple. Instead of joining the pile on, Schwarzenegger flipped the conversation, saying what many Americans are thinking. Because yes, with everything going on nowadays, it shouldn't be about the fact that he stopped the riots, because yes, he just had to send in National Guard and Marines, and they had that knocked out in a day or two. But anyway, so he changes the conversation, and this is what a true leader does. He takes control. He takes the reins. The bottom line, I'm not saying Arnold Schwarzenegger is a leader. I'm just saying, like, this is the base man. The bottom line is that they should get together rather than always pointing the finger at each other. They should really get together and solve this problem, because that's what the American people want. And Kimmel tries again because he's not going to stop. This is his grift. Now, respect the grift, because I respect Jared Bear, D-Day Cobra, but I guess you kind of have to respect the grip. He's not going to give up on it, because this is literally seated in the roots of his heart. Yeah, well, it seems like our president doesn't want to have this problem solved. He wants to create problems here in our country. Now, that is a very loaded question, and to some who are not level-headed, they will automatically go into rage over it. And that's what he wants. But Schwarzenegger wasn't going to fall for this either. Either he was coached or he's seen this kind of crap before. And so he responds. People always say to me, oh my goodness, what's going on in America right now? And I say to them, chill, relax. I came over here in 1968 where it was a disaster. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Bobby Kennedy was assassinated. There were riots left and right because of Vietnam. Then the attack on the Democratic Convention in Chicago, then Watergate, and the thing went on and on. America will always get out of this mess. Believe me, this will be solved. This issue, LA, always a great city to come to. I'm very, very proud of Los Angeles. And this is why I think he's gearing himself up for another political run. I think the key thing here is that the federal government and the state and the locals working together to solve those problems. Now, here's the thing. People aren't going to work together because of the lobbyists. They're not going to work together for money. They're not going to work together for all the underhanded and shady deals that happen all the time. This is what politics is nowadays. But at least he's calling it out a little bit. At least he's brushing over the giant pile of shit that American government has become with a little bit of spray gold. And then a couple days later, he goes on. And then he goes on late night TV. Let me tell everyone here, I travel a lot, and I just came back from Europe. And today, as much as 50 years ago, whenever we first immigrated to this country, legally, the same amount of people come up to me and say, Arnold, Please, can you help me to get to America? They do it because it's the greatest country in the world. It's the best country in the world, no matter who is looting it. People come and go, but this always will be the greatest country. So at least there is some nationalism to that, and that's not necessarily a great thing, not necessarily a bad thing. However, if we want our country and the place where we're raising our kids, the place where we're setting roots into the ground, if we want that to be the best place, yes, we should have some nationalism. We should believe our country is the best because it's supposed to be a God-fearing country. And our Constitution, if followed properly, is the best Constitution out there. It's the best set of rules. The problem that we find so much of the time is that everyone has a voice. There's no problem that everyone has a voice. But the thing is nowadays is that everyone's voices are antithetical to what the Constitution allows for. Go back to states' rights. I said I wasn't going to get too political, but I'm getting too political. And if that wasn't patriotic enough, he closed the Jimmy Kimmel one. I can't wait to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America and to just once again say thank you for bringing me into this country and showing me this enormous generosity. Everything that I've ever accomplished is because of America. Where is my flag? I feel like there should be a storm outside so I can just take my shirt off and go bask in America. That's the bottom line. Kimmel, visibly thrown off by the answer because it wasn't scripted. He scripted all of his questions in order to lead him into a response. He wasn't playing none of those games. He just changed the subject. What were you doing in Europe? Doesn't matter. It's not your business. Now, just days later, Schwarzenegger would appear on The View, where the host tried again to push him into ideological alignment on immigration, ICE, and border policy, and once again, he wouldn't play ball. So, once again, I'm saying it again and again and again and again. He must be on a campaign trail for somebody, if not himself, then someone else, where he's going to have like a backseat role. When you come to America, you're a guest. You have to behave like a guest. This is what he says. Rather than committing a crime or being abusive. Based. Oh my goodness. I don't know how, why is this so difficult for people to understand? If you're coming over here, just do it the right way. There are so many points of entry where you can come over here legally. Just don't commit a crime and don't take advantage of crap. If you're leaving your country, why are you leaving your country? Why? Because it's a shithole and you want to go to a place where you can make more money, where you have the ability to move up and down in the social stratosphere. Well, if you're doing that, maybe you should pledge allegiance to this country, which is what they used to have to do when you became a nationalized citizen. You had to take a test on American history. You had to pass that, and you had to pledge allegiance to the United States of America. I don't know if they do that anymore, but they should. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and go and do something for your community. Make this a better place. All right. See, yeah, this is political speech, but I am 100% behind it because he has said absolutely nothing wrong. If you're coming here because you're seeking asylum, that means that you should get in with the society that we have here. You should, when you immigrate, you also have to integrate. I don't know if I've ever heard that buzzword or catchphrase before, but I'm saying it right now. When you immigrate, it's your responsibility to integrate into that society. Otherwise, go the fuck back where you came from. And this has nothing to do with anybody's race, skin color. I don't give a crap about that. I literally don't care. Borders, language, culture. That's what makes a country a country. Michael Savage said it a long time ago, and I stand by that because that has never been disproven. Now, pressed further by Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin, He stays consistent through all of this. All of this is happening because we don't have immigration reform. Immigration reform, you mean a wall? Democrats and Republicans have to come together and build the wall. If they want to be party servants and be party hacks and be tied to their ideology, then it won't happen. And this is, I can agree with him on that. However, I don't think we're going to agree on the way that this actually comes to fruition. The libraries are open. Public access is there. They have all of the tools to do it the correct way. Why aren't they doing it? The reason why they're not doing it is because there's a lot of greedy people exchanging money behind the scenes. They're taking advantage of people. They're taking advantage of you, the taxpayer. They're taking advantage of the people that they're pushing over. They're taking advantage of all kinds of stuff. It ain't good. It ain't good, but at least, like, I mean, Schwarzenegger's like a rhino at best. I don't even think he is Republican. I mean, I'm not Republican either, but I don't even think he can even be classified as Republican. He's a rhino at best. And he's even saying this stuff. So, like, what are we doing here? If you want to protest with the flag of your country, why are you not in the country where that flag is waving proudly? Why? These are simple ass fucking questions. Go the fuck back there. Oh, because you don't have free speech. You can't do it back there because the cartel will chop your fucking head off. Oh, is that why you're not doing it back there? Oh, you're over here because you have air conditioning. Okay. And free public school and all kinds of other stuff. Oh, that's why you're over here. Yet you yearn for a place back there. Just go. You crossed illegally. You can go back. Like, hey, we'll just let you out. You can legally cross back. We don't give a crap. Get the hell out. Anyway, this is Malty from Mouth to Malty. Yes, this basically all became political. And I'm sorry about that. I'm not sorry for anything that I said, but I am sorry that, like, this channel is supposed to be entertainment and pop culture. But this is what they have. This is what they're injecting into our entertainment and pop culture every single day. This is what they want. So let's give them a dose back, because a spoonful of vinegar helps that medicine regurgitate all over their front. Y'all have a good day. We love you. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.